Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice radio, so today I'm going to show you a very exciting new Pokémon GX card that is coming in the upcoming Burning Shadows expansion. It is Ho-Oh GX, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm a little bit excited about Ho-Oh GX. Now, it's a fire Pokémon, so it means that cards like Decidueye and Lurantis will fall before you. It is weak to lightning, which isn't a huge problem. There's still the odd Raichu deck floating around, and you never know, Tapu Koko GX might be quite good. It is resistant to fighting. Now, resistance is usually a good thing, but the resistance to fighting coupled with the weakness to lightning does mean that he is, shall we say, vulnerable to my old friend Zeb Striker. And the retreat of 2 is actually pretty awkward because you are going to be wanting to retreat him fairly often. 190 HP is on the high side for a basic GX. It's up there with Lapras and higher than things like Tauros. And don't forget that you can use Fighting Fury Bout to up the HP here, but of course now that Field Blower is out, it's not quite as reliable as it used to be. Now, the first attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for a fire and a double colourless energy, which is like Alolan Ninetales' first attack, except for an extra energy. It's massively overpriced, and I know it's a basic, not a stage 1, but it's overpriced, and 50 is annoying. If it did 60, you'd be getting one-hit KOs on evolving basics like Rowlet, for instance, but 50's not enough. Boo, hiss, etc. The second attack does 180, which is pretty good, and don't forget that you can always pop a choice band on, so you're then hitting for 210 damage instead, which will one-hit KO pretty much any EX, Basic GX, or Stage 1 GX. Big problem here, it costs 4 energy to do it. It's way too expensive. Now, it does have the requirement that you wait a turn before using it again. You can't use it during your next turn. It's not a huge problem. Lapras' attack does this, and Volcanion EX's attack says this. It's not a huge problem. You can just retreat to another Pokemon, maybe using Float Stone. Or you can play a Pokemon Ranger to get rid of that effect and just attack the following turn. Like the first attack, it's too gosh darned expensive. But the GX attack, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I write notes before I do all these videos, and my note for this attack just says, "Oh my goodness, yes," in all capital letters. What it allows you to do for a fire and a double colourless, put 3 in combination of Fire Pokemon EX or Fire Pokemon GX from your discard pile onto your bench. Now remember, it's a GX attack, so it's one of any description per game. So once you've used this attack, you can't use a GX on any Pokemon GX you might have got back using this. Now, this is, if nothing else, a wonderfully exciting attack that opens up a whole world of new possibilities. Now, you can actually do it on the first turn of the game. Being a basic, you can attach an energy with Max Elixir, and you can use double colourless energy. Now, it's quite a lot to ask for. You'll need to hit a Max Elixir, and you'll need to get the double colourless energy, and you'll need to have it on the bench and get whatever is in the active out of the active, maybe using something like a Float Stone, but it can be done on the first turn of the game. It is a brilliant setting up GX attack. Now, you could use this in a Volcanion deck or a Turtonator deck to recover free Volcanion or free Turtonator to your bench and help you recover in the mid-game. That is not what is particularly good about this GX attack. You can use it, but that's not what it's there for. It works like Archie's Ace in the Hole or Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. You can get evolved Fire EXs or GXs straight onto the bench with this, and that's what's really good. Now, as it stands at the moment, the only really good option we've got for this is Incineroar GX. And essentially what you do is you get free Incineroar in the discard pile, you then use this GX attack, and you've got free Incineroar sitting on your bench. You've not had to use rare candy, you've not had to evolve them, and they're ready to go. If Incineroar was a basic Pokemon, it would be broken. 250 HP, a really good attack for 1 energy, the combination of that allowing you to abuse Max Potion, it would be an insanely good Pokemon. But the fact that it's a stage 2 in the current meta means it's too slow, too hard to get into play, etc. If you can get this GX attack working, all the Incineroar's starting to look good. And I know you only get 3 Incineroar rather than 4, but they give up 2 prizes each. When you give up 6 prizes, you lose the game. You don't need more than 3 Incineroar here. And you can just play a whole bunch of other fire Pokemon like Victini, like the Bailey style or Oricorio, to fill up your bench with fire Pokemon to fuel Incineroar's attacks. Now, we have got a couple of other options here. There's no point, like I've said, using this for GXs or EXs that are basics, and all regular EXs are basics. You could just use something like Bridget, and it wouldn't be your GX attack for the turn. No. But you can use this for Mega EXs, and there are 4 Fire Mega EXs. The Promo Blaziken, who's not good because the attacks are too expensive. The Mega Charizard from Evolutions, which is no good because the attacks are too expensive. The Mega Charizard from Generations, which is no good because the attacks are too expensive. And the Mega Houndoom, which isn't very good because the attack, although not terribly expensive, is unfortunately not ideal because you have to discard the energy to use it, which means that after a couple of turns, it's too expensive to use it. I personally like this for Incineroar, but we all know at this stage, anyone that's watched a bunch of my videos, listened to my podcast, available on iTunes, you know that I love Incineroar. And I love this card, and I've played this deck way more than I should have done, and I admit that Incineroar isn't great. But with Ho-Oh, if you can get it working, it could be quite good. But that's not what, for most people, should be really exciting about Ho-Oh. What should be really exciting about Ho-Oh is that more Fire GXs will be released in the future. We know that in Burning Shadows we're getting a Charizard GX. We've not seen a picture of it, we don't know what it does. But we do know that you can use the basic GX Ho-Oh to get 3 of them out of the discard and put them straight onto the bench. And that is why I love this card and this GX attack so much. Now, one huge downside here, of course, if you use this to get Incineroar back, well, that's your GX attack for the game, so you can't use Incineroar's GX attack. Same thing with Charizard GX. So anytime you use this to recover a GX Pokemon, you are recovering it knowing that you can't use a GX attack. But the fact that you can take Stage 2 GXs, and I'm sorry, but the way it is at the moment, Stage 2 grass Pokemon are good because of Forest of Giant Plants. Outside of that, Stage 2s at the moment really are not terribly viable. Using Rare Candy, well, you're going to get feasted on by Garbodor. Or you're going to be slowed down by Vileplume, you can't use the Rare Candy. I could keep going, I'm hoping you get the point here. This is a way to get your Stage 1 and 2s out in a way which might work in the current format. And that's why I love Ho-Oh GX, because if we get more Fire GXs in the future that are Stage 1 or Stage 2, Ho-Oh's got your back. Now, if we move into Expanded, this goes from a curiosity at the moment, maybe really good in the future, to a potentially genuinely really viable deck. Because there are 2 cards we have in Expanded, X and Y on, that we don't have in Standard, Primal Clash on, and they are Blacksmith and Battle Compressor. Blacksmith allows you to attach 2 fire energy from your discard to one of your fire Pokemon, meaning that you are more likely to get Ho-Oh GX with free energy on early, and you don't have to rely on double colorless, because in most fire decks, you just want to be playing fire energy, like Incineroar. And Battle Compressor allows you to discard 3 cards from your deck, so you can discard those free Incineroar on turn 1 using Battle Compressor, making it more likely that you're going to be able to get the setup. Because it's not just the free energy you need on Ho-Oh turn 1, and it's not just getting Ho-Oh in the active after having him on the bench for Max Elixir. It's having your free EXs or GXs in the discard and having the free energy on Ho-Oh and getting Ho-Oh into the active. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the problem. But the combination of Blacksmith and Battle Compressor in Expanded, I will be playing this deck with Incineroar, and I'm excited to see what other fire Pokemon we get in the future. I am going to give Ho-Oh GX a potentially generous 4 Wassies, and it's not just because it could make Incineroar better, although maybe the Wassie score is a little padded because of it. It is for the potential, because any Stage 2 GX that is a fire type that we see in the future, instead of just going, oh, it's too slow, it's too reliant on Rare Candy, Garbodor and Vileplume are going to have a field day, we're going to be saying, you know what? With Ho-Oh, this just might work. And if we ever get a card released which makes it easier to get these Pokemon in the discard pile, or makes it easier to accelerate fire energy onto Ho-Oh, it could get even better. Now, you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. There is a comment section. Go nuts, be nice. There are buttons to both like this video and subscribe to this channel, and I think you should use them both. It would make me happy. You can follow me on Twitter, @TheWassy, and don't forget the most important thing as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.